Oh yeah, 당연하죠. what's it? Today somebody that kasi here na ichneyo 먼저. 그런 야 먹게가 이렇게 전부래. 근데 딱 가세네 란츠나스 때문에 튜니 뭐 로예스.
So now we're going to start the class, and just like yesterday, it's important for us to generate a good motivation. Yeah, you again?
No.
No? Okay, wait.
I think
Yeah?
little done. Okay. Last little okay.
Try.
Okay, now?
Again.
Yes?
What's okay?
Oh, now.
Yeah,
Maybe a
you
bit
can
less,
try.
maybe a bit less.
A bit less.
Little. Okay.
Okay. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Now it's not.
Sabina.
Say something.
Okay. Yes, I think it's good, huh? Yeah. Great.
Okay. Right.
Okay, so I will just finish again. Please generate good motivation for the class, and now we're going to continue with the texts where we left off yesterday.
카세카르 히어레 사나문자 민중게 삼바 제급이 юм세 민중게 삼바 제급이 юм세니 카세 히어레 다드네 민중게 삼바 제츠데 다드린 도고요레스.
So yesterday we spoke about the reason, the need to generate the thought of renunciation, and today's verse will talk about the measure. How do we know that we have generated it?
다 카세 첸데 나히도 바스. This just not correct. Not correct. Later. No. Later high. It's okay.
We can mute it up?
Correct? No.
Say something.
Okay, now? No. Maybe even I don't know myself.
Okay, now okay. Right. Okay, now okay. Come here.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes. 딱 kasi 먼저 첸데 나히도 바스 지마. 체티 뒤수 퉁퉁 휴지레스. 체테다 희만이 희마베 림보레스. 근데 잠발라 체테다 희만이 나는 희마 개침부 잘 요레스. 먼저 저 희마 편치라 상로 당과의 개침부 잘 요레스. 디카선 휴요레스.
So in the verse yesterday, the verse spoke that we should dispel attachment to this life. Is because this very life we have actually it's a short life. We have very little time here, and in comparison to the future lives, so the future life is more important.
여보다 이제도 다다나데 배셔널 텐와 렌데모노 코비 동안노 야야산의 힘이 나게 더사데 다디 첸데 나게 더바다 힘이 나게 더 바사데 점발라데 힘이 나게 더 바사데 차기요래 제가 드니 점바 조등서 렌디 몰로와 삼바다 어느 거의 동안에서 상고 요래스 같이
we don't hear anymore.
No,
Ah.
discipline more.
little more.
Woke us up. Thank you. Good.
Okay, now it's okay. Okay, right now.
Yeah.
데
Yes.
따다 진디구나. 거 따다 지른데 샤고는 띠준나 데 지 괜찮지 깨잡지 찬로도 가네는 거지. 데거 땡데 진디구다 하고.
It's a defend and the rising of turning the buttons.
Yeah. Okay. 아니 저
Yes. So now, still in verse 4, line 3 and 4, in English the order is reversed compared to Tibetan, just bear that in mind. Dispel attachment to your future lives, contemplate repeatedly the unfailing effects of karma and the sufferings of samsara. So now this is talking about letting go of attachment to next life and knowing that karma and its results are non-deceiving or unfailing, as it says in the text, and also knowing the sufferings of cyclic existence.
근데 저 가르치고 세나 안에 저와시마 하드미 공부지 답이나야 대야 시비야 붙지 말이스 다도 고안나나 저랜데 요레스 아니 하드미 공부타나야 대야고 하드미라야 강에도 농에도 요레스 다테 마제비기야 레티게 네바조송이나야 나와이다 트노라스바 데야 마치 시바차 요레스 드니 잠발라 저와시마 하드미 공부지 탐나야 대셔치 야보치 더 차요 말레스 어디 송요레스
Yapodi.
야보차 야보히치 다도 저와래 드니 차요 말레스.
So what this is, the essence of these two lines are such as, even in the next life, if we were to attain the state of higher rebirths of humans and gods, then those states are still in samsara, in cyclic existence, and therefore there is still suffering that beings experience there. And even not only that, but after dying in those states, there's a possibility to actually go down, being reborn in the lower realms, in the states of hell beings, hungry ghosts, and so on. So actually taking birth in those higher realms is still not considered good.
계산단다 배신나로라 레디 물로와스 레 겨와체발라 테니 디부 대와 디부 잠보치 용요레스 아니 레 두아체비나 아니 디부 둥하다 아니 강에다 뜻 용요레스 트리 잠발라 테 물로와레스 레 겨와체발라 테니 디부 대와 용르마도 둥하 용구마레스 레 메게와체 샤비나 두아체비나 테 디부 둥하마도 대와 용 시그마레스 트리 잠발라 코니 레디니 물로와레스 어디 송요레스.
So, therefore, in the text, it speaks about the unfailing effects of karma. What this is talking about is that if we commit a virtuous karma, then the result of this is going to be good, happiness. And likewise, if we commit a negative karma, bad karma, then the result of this is going to be suffering and difficulties. So this is the uncertainty of karma. From committing negative karma, we get a negative result. From committing a positive virtuous karma, we get a positive result.
나야. 제가 다레 겨와 제발라 때니 아니 저와시마 하담미 공부한테라 탑타야. 아니 레메 겨와 제니 냐와이가 돈라서 발마 제바치야. 아니 하담미 공부지 탑이나야 디텐라 공판 토야 돼 기위레 지기요르데 야 미게위레 라서 같은데게 야 강에도 동에 미다 하다도 솔라 용하데 드리차디오레스.
So therefore, from accumulating virtuous karma, in the next life, we are born as humans or gods. And from committing negative karma, in next lives we take rebirth in the lower realms of hell beings, pretas, or animals. But even when we actually attain the higher rebirth as gods or humans, then still there is negative karma, and from that negative karma, still we experience suffering.
야, 드네 자마다 다 냐와이다 드노 미라 라마이라 소비기 뜻은게 아니 지당기 강에단 동에 상야 쳇바도 아니 수수수수게 강에단 동에 뜻은데 야니 양데 삼비나 되니 힘이 나히도 바세디 저와시마 라드미 공발라 소비게 아니 저와 삼보들이 가베터에 있는 야티 기회야 부지리민도 삼네 아니 지저와 심한테라베 현차로 저와 됐는데 아니 너로 요레스
闲下来吗？
현차스나 다 attachment도 저 내차
So within those 6 classes of beings in samsara, so the hell beings, hungry ghosts, animals, humans, demigods, and gods, we should think about the general suffering in samsara, and then each and individual sufferings that there are amongst each classes of beings. And then to this way of thinking, we then dispel the attachment, the grasping, the clinging to the next life.
다른에 디제라 대다 공부 거의 본소라 예면 끼기 자야 미제지 인생 건도 타버 되냐로 종합돼서 인중제바 라스 다데 인중제비기 체 송요레스.
And then we move on to verse number 5, which says, when, through growing accustomed to thinking in this way, hope for the pleasures of samsara no longer arise even for an instant, and throughout both day and night you long for liberation, then at that time true renunciation has been born. So this verse is talking about a measure of complete, having generated a complete thought of renunciation.
야. 다 대다 kombi 거의 본소라 그래서 다 간데라 렌디 몰라와도 거기 동안에서 야야 삼발라 때니 아니 코와티나라 코와च्या와레미기나야 대야보스케레면도 만수케 야와츠데사게 아니 미라담미 공방터니 아니 느비게 롱주 포소 저가 가리여비나야 대선데 야보케레미도스 아니 유대양 레단 니모나 때니 중야바 대마지베게 아니 딘디게 거기 본소 텔라 때니 만소여길라 아니 양존데 차제 현랑제 텔라 때니 레사 양존 고안 거기게 저 어딘디 속도 딘디 잠발라 됐는데 야와세니 게리민도 세네 아니 예면 끼기 자야 미제바 아니 년단세 뒤꾼도 아니 타바지 고아틸레 바타비 타비 공바지 토나 삼바지 가두 지그노나 바데 인조 지베기 체레예소.
So then when the first line reads, when through growing accustomed to thinking in this way, so thinking in this way, so thinking about what the previous verse was talking about, so the unfailing results of karma, and then also thinking about these pleasures of samsara, which the second line is talking about. So the pleasures of samsara, this contaminated happiness of samsara, when we realize that even when we have those in the states of humans or gods, even when we have all these pleasures, still, because when we have those, then we get attached to those, and through that we also generate anger. And then like that, we generate karma, and afflictive emotions arise, and through those we continue to circle in samsara. So when that thought arises, and then both day and night, all the time, we think about renunciation, then we have generated that thought.
제가 땅에서 민중기 삼아대 배 마시바 케치 뭐 자기 요레스. 근데 민중기 삼아째야데 저데 아니 코와째다 제라사 kowa chidang ani cheda susu dunga tisonde yani yandasam diya zo di susu dini sangu yari kesi nga kowa tindi jawale ina dili kangi dungi tindi yungudu sambar zo chide susu dindala ani kangi dunga tisonde nyombi ina ta kangi dunga la ngonsa ina gabaya marwa tindi zamala ta yapuseni kerimindo ta nga kowa tili pa tagugudu sambike sambatinde hyukchimbo ani kaduina jawa tangonsu tela nyonga tam salaguyar nyonga ani habitinda tilichi kadu chasoma yana ani nyonga sama muni bat chegi yores.
So like that, the thought of renunciation, generating that thought is very important. In particular, we should, in order to generate it, we should reflect on the sufferings of samsara in general, and then on specific types of sufferings which are experienced in samsara. And then we should also think, if I were to be born in samsara again and again, then this and that suffering, types of sufferings are going to arise. And of course, none of us like to suffer, right? So then, strong thought anytime, like the verses day and night, as a habit, when this arises to strive for liberation, to be free from samsara, then this is what it says to be the thought of renunciation.
Oh yeah. 다 가서 먼저 인투지 대바 란저지 대바 대전지 대바선 히어래 다 대바성은 나네 다 배나 인투지 대바 란저지 대바니나 대바 멤버스는 히어봐 근데 좀다 인투지 대바텔라 초랑 조랑 통화서 여봐 땅 초랑서 인투지 초랑 간디신 터비오레 슬람나 다 단다 고유히 동안도 삼네 고아 tela yabu jere mendus. Kowa tele pa tabike nintuji tabati togudu sambike tende sambate ane juma mayin baslewa juma mayin bate kadu jeson yina nintuji cholan sa tandogu yores. Nintuji tabat togudu surwa kowa tela yabu jere mendus tagi khansu bana yeke 거의 벌써 됐어라 예문 끼치자 뭐지 인생 건도 타바된 일로란도 니 타바디 니투지 타바된 일이나 니투지 전화 탄로요리 란제지 타바된 일이나 란제지 전화 탄로요.
So yesterday I spoke about 3 types of vehicles. So the hearer vehicle, the solitary realizer vehicle, and the great Mahayana vehicle. The hearer vehicle and the solitary realizer vehicle together, we call them the foundational vehicle. So now in this context, if we take the hearer vehicle, then the first path, which is part of preparation, how to enter the path of preparation of the hearer vehicle is
preparation accumulation.
Path of accumulation, the first one. So is to think that samsara is not a good place and that I want to attain liberation of the hearer vehicle. And to think like this continuously without interruption, day and night, then this is generating a thought of renunciation.
Oh yeah, that thing also came with it. Nintuji cholang, ranjaji cholang, kandesin togure lana. Ani so de ninjung samba jede. Nintuji taba tunduji samba juma mayeba. Ninjung samba yubi toni ranjaji taba tunduji samba juma mayeba. Kadu jana ta nintuji ranjaji cholang tugu yori jita cholang tuwa tela inji minji tomba nida dameba tendi toguya tendi yomare. Ninjung samba jene taba tuniji lo jedi zamala nintuji ranjaji cholang tugu yores.
So we should know how it is that we enter the path of accumulation of the hearer and the solitary realizer's vehicle, and this is entered through uninterrupted thought of renunciation. There is no need at that point to have a realization of emptiness, to think of emptiness or selflessness, there what's required is the genuine thought of renunciation.
Oh yeah. 다 되는 인중기 삼바 깨니 베나다 니투지 타바 토구도 삼비 강사지요나 인중기 삼바께 아니 디제라 다 동반이 제가 다 리니요 인중기 삼바 마제비 응올라 동반이 또 상해 야 인중기 삼바 깨니 디제라 동반이 동해 된디게 리니요 대 잠발라다 니투지 초라 터니 엔디제라 동반이 곰 아니 동반이를 미비겠다 먼저 한통스레와 희내다 한통세죠와 동반이를 미비 한통 가디 터소나 아니 초라니 졸람 터르비레스
So if we generate the thought of renunciation, so for example, in the then we enter from the hearer. If it's an individual who's practicing in the hearer vehicle, then they would enter the path of accumulation. Generally, there are two ways of at which point emptiness, realization of emptiness comes into picture. For some, they realize emptiness before they generate the thought of renunciation. And then for others, they do first generate renunciation and then they realize emptiness. So in the first place, an individual will have a realization of emptiness. So vipassana, they will practice vipassana, and then they will move on to subsequent to the part of preparation and seeing.
다 도마니 라미 비키 한도 터네 졸람 되어봐 다 졸람 되라 rumba 히히 얘는 다 뜻 참아 하지 간다게 아니 인중기 삼바디 야와치 디 칸라 아니 도마니데 배 휴치 먹음 아니 담보 도마니 몬순도 또기요 말에 먼저 또빠살래와 디 또기요 아니 도마니 곰네 야네 곰비나 아니 동반이데 저 세르 통네 아니 동반이 원순도 또바사데 가디 좀이나 아니 니투지 통한탄로 요레스 니투 땅고스탄데 니투히게르와 니투지 통한탄로 요레스
So once an individual has realized emptiness, so vipassana, then they enter the path of preparation. And at the beginning, this realization of emptiness is not direct. It's an individual needs to practice it again and again. It becomes clearer with time, and then it becomes a direct realization of emptiness. And then, in the context of a hearer vehicle, then an individual enters the path of seeing of the hearer vehicle.
통나트르레베. 다 도마니 원수도 또네 아니 통나 가디 터소이나 딱 간사디 파파사디 차도요레스.
So then once a being realizes emptiness directly and enters into the path of seeing, then we call such a being a noble being.
제가 대백에 참여했어. 통화 마저 빙문텔라 아니 소수제와슬레라. 통화 톱사서는 파파사 찬우여스 제상문서 아리아 빙사데 간이 차기야 바티 삼디 인지벤지 행고레스.
So this is important that before entering into the path of seeing, we call such a being an ordinary being, and then once they enter the path of seeing, we call them a noble and Arya being. So this is the differentiation.
다티 제라 오늘 곰랑 세자마다 통한지 값을라 어머니 원수 통사로 왔어. 다티 가두이는 도마니 무슨 통과 말고 제기도 공비 가서라 무슨 통이야. 야데 도마니 제기도 막공이는 양 도마니 무슨 도요 말. 제자라고 냠야다 지터 선데니 히어 간다게 도마니라 곰데비 갑술라 무슨 도그와. 다데니야 공란야 로지 참말라 공란 rimba 군노 히어 스타트스 샤차고도 먼저 자기 말에 간다기 뒤 가서 같이 보려서는 다 뉴모 먼저 타바타발라 딱 받치 쟁이 쪼데 뉴모드스 차대요 아니 뉴모드스인데 갈래갈래 라파스를 뜻인데 몰라빵 근데 잘못해서 제라빵이 되네 네 고람 고르고라 rimba 진이야 로기오레스
So then an individual, a noble being, then enters the path of meditation. So at this point, they already have a direct realization of emptiness, but this realization is not yet there all the time. It actually, they realize emptiness directly when they are meditating, during meditation sessions, but in what's called a post-meditative attainment, then this direct realization of emptiness isn't always present. In the path of meditation, there are, if we were to talk about in detail, there are 9 stages, but generally the obstacles at this point are our afflictions. And then an individual first removes gross afflictions, and then as they progress through those 9 stages, they remove more subtle afflictions.
다 타마텔라 아니 니몬 참아데 가디 방차서나 아니 니티지 몰라람 탄도여레 테니 간사티 다점바 세 차도여레스.
So in the end, when all the afflictions are abandoned, then an individual noble being enters a path of normal learning. And at that point, in the case of a hero vehicle, they attain the state of an arahat.
다 베게 나라 드라점마선 치 니어레스 드라사지 드라사는 것은 에네모사 드라들이데 드라드 카샤고스나 하는 것은 난킨다 안에 내자샤다 데몰라스 베게 아니 니몬 베몬히어 뜻인데 무슨 난킨다레스 좀 사되게 안 뜻 사마데파 빵르 사말라네 좀 슬레요레스.
So the word arhat is a Sanskrit word. In Tibetan, that word consists of 2 syllables. In Tibetan, it's called dra chompa. Dra means an enemy. In this very context, it is talking about an inner enemy or enemies. It's talking about the attachment, anger, and ignorance, and also different types of afflictions. So this is the meaning of the first syllable. And then the chompa, this means to abandon, to conquer. So all that enemy, right? That inner enemy of afflictions.
Okay. Teni nimo tsama pansa sama yina. Teni ta le tos yanaya. Tato le pede pangi yomare. Yinaya le tesuki ngatsu yanjong koa la. Su jengwa ya teni jitu yomare. Jitu mares teni lantes.
So at this point, all afflictions have been abandoned. However, there is still some karma left, but this karma isn't strong enough anymore to make us cycle in samsara.
다 대당이게 란자라야 아니 니트게 nembrata mancho jiparediores.
So like that, the way of practicing for the Pratyeka Buddhas, for solitary realizers, is mostly the same as for the hero vehicle.
다 민다 토스토시오레스 다 남주 체비나 니트다 란자니데 지당게 지바인 바카실라 란자게 고좀 몽om지야 민다와치오레스 니트도 소게 먼저가 ranja korang molang mindawa sum tagirisa tindiji yorima to ye ranja da nintuni kipano chires
Mulam sum.
molang sum.
So the differences is actually very small between the practice of those two vehicles, the hearer vehicle and the solitary realizer vehicle. The difference actually lies mainly in the three types of prayers that they do, and the rest is the same.
Molang sum karis da chwa
You probably ask what are those three prayers?
Tiri prayer karela molang sum karela na ane korang ranja ke ngonzo mi na mi le hikar da mandalwa so samsu manda yorwa tina ye ke ranja ke ya lamlan dongi ke kansa tasong ke sambala na konzo gom jal pe gawa yor tindi sambala ko molang tambu che karjar sana ane ya tonglang da golang tindi ya tudi sambala ane sanji jikdenji kansa la chujung kolo go debi tindi kapsu mayin bala nga jaa lemba hyo sana molang jen jak yores
Gonda. What is that?
sanji jikdenji pabne ane chu sungu yorwa Te kasula ane sanji chu sung chu nyen dana jana ko gom jala pachi chigdo tene sanji jitenji kansa pabne chu sung debi tindi kasula nga te jawa malewa sho sana molang jares.
Other. So the differences stem from different types of characters or predispositions, right? Ways of thinking all of us have as individuals. So in particular, the solitary realizers, they really like to meditate. So what they actually think, in how they aspiration they make, that when a Buddha comes on this planet and teaches, may I not be reborn at that time.
Really?
Tela jawa malemba shosra.
Uh-huh.
Ako karting or sa sanji jidi kan jawa le jidi ka chu sung dine chena. Ane koro karting na tanda ram jawa senda ngarang susu jipoke ane dachamba cha chi tugu yo sangyo ko. Chezange ta mala nimba darda. Mala nimba de ane sipa tamawe tselar. Sipa tamasena ta kowa nanola ta jawa lemba ke tamacharwa. Ti kapsula ane ko lebo yinji danga nimba la madupa ngarang rangi ane dacha mindibe taba hyo sena mala chi chakyor. Susu rangi, I self, tesa ombarase, on myself. Chezange sipa tamawe la korda. Sipa tamasena ta jawa tila dachamba chagirana ta de sipa tamawa chagyor. Ti kasula ko korang gigin chini meba. Ta sanji do tindi yawina sanji ki chusunga dini chikirwa. Dindi mayimba. Korang rangi ane dachuminti tawa sho sana mala chi jagyores.
So the reason they think like that about not being reborn when the Buddha is teaching, because they have a very strong conviction that they can do it all by themselves without listening to teachers. And also, this is the type of prayer they also do. So this is the second type of aspiration they pray. May I do this all by myself. May this be my last existence without a teacher. They don't feel the need to have a teacher. They know that they can attain the state of arahat, being arahat by themselves.
So jason. Okay. Tamadi. Ane korang ke ya chuyu sungyor senjena. Ko gitu no ne chu sungra. Chu sung kasala ya anzo ke ngane daye bitoni chuhingra. Tende mayimba kol chichu karyosena lu dami lu ji namjuju koni chu sung ne ba shawaslar. Dame ba ane Luke Zumtrundo in the Dane, and the Chute never shows and the Mala Jake Yoris.
Luci.
Luke Damepa.
Drama.
Dame Luke Namjujan on the Chutembas. Luke Namjusena Casa attitude no Java. Luke Namjujan on the Chuta never shows.
And then the third type of aspiration these beings make is normally when we listen to the Dharma, when the Dharma is being taught, this is done through sound, yes, like for example now. But their aspiration is to listen to the Dharma without sound, through attitude, through their body. Right.
It is attitude of body. Chesage coordinate Solan, the Jolam Castle, the Manape, Mamba Jagores. Tende Jabal Deni, and in Tona, Golam de Totsaneta, Dachamba Chadu, Chipi Captela, and in Molan take Driba the Trumni, and the Sanjin Jitinji Council, Mape Nekaso, and in Jitinji Kala, Dachamba Casa Ranja Mambo Chagres. And the Korange Chusun de Zambala, and the Luigi Namjugoni, shooting yours. And Tamatela and the Koran Rangi, Gigendo, Tindela Matema, Koran Rangi, Dachame, Divitabachi, to be yours. Chetan Rang Sanji Legua, something like Rang Sanji's colors on the Koran Rangi, and Dachama Chatabache in Sonza, Rang Sanji.
So then through they pray in these three different ways, make these aspirations a lot. And then they go through the path. And as a result of these prayers, at the point when they attain the state of an arahat, what then happens is their prayers are being actualized. So at the time when there are no Buddhas present teaching, then at that time there are actually many solitary realizers coming onto the earth. This is a result of their first aspiration. May I not be here when the Buddha is teaching. Then when they are listening, when the Dharma is being taught, they don't listen there's no sound. They listen to the attitude, right? And then also they actually attain the entire path by themselves without relying on the teacher. And therefore, that's why we call them solitary realizers, because from their perspective, they do it on their own.
Okay, that just drama we just that taught If
you have questions, please ask.
It's about the solitary. How you know you are really not solitary in the practice? For example, you go to the teaching, you keep the teaching. And normally people go to the retreat and to be solitary. This is no solitary practice. How you understand? I don't know. It's a good question. Maybe not.
Rangi gena ani pechashana na so ani samla degiore na so chikpudela degiore.
Te Ranjasana, te Mare. Chetangi ko Ranjas the Ranjaji Molanjia, Ranjaji Lamlan Dungi, Susu Mupayo, and Ranjaki Chunyamne Kandi, Chin, Tinaki, Chin, Suzuchu, Sam Devina, and Ranjalo, Chanu Yarwa. Ranja, Ranjaji Lamla shouldn't know your Mindamanarata, Hakomara, Kaji, Nindu Jalana shouldn't know. Gaboyore interesting yore telnogore kaji ranjaji landona gaboyore telnogore and kaji then teaching landona gaboyore kanda min samchon damana yensonza and the
So it's not exactly like that. So in here we are talking about the predispositions, way of thinking, and the types of aspiration and the individual is making. So some people have interest in a hero vehicle, some are more inclined towards a solitary realizer vehicle, and some towards the greater vehicle. So this is a difference in the way of thinking.
Because in some sutra, I read it.
Mm.
Apart the monk, many people listen Buddha teaching,
Mm.
and also there are Pratika Buddhas listen that teaching. So I have a bit confused about this because also I understand Mahayana, Hinayana.
Mm.
The solitary Pratika Buddha are Hinayana, and Hinayana believe only in four noble truth, but they don't believe in emptiness. This is the difference, maybe.
No, like that. Tende mare. Kola nanji theravada shiyachiyo. Tende wachadar. Tende mare. Ta tende lada. Chitang ki nyin tu sachidwa. Nyin tu ki tenda kare la yina. Ane tiba chimbi ki chu sanje dang tiba chimbi ki ta gegen lo. Tende la chu nyingi yores. Tiba chimbi chu nyingi yore de inaya susu ki nyamne de jituki yomares. Tiba chimbi chu su de sinje tamje ki tenrukure se zama tate nga yung samare tene. Ta ngaro chibon kuwa tili pa tana. Disare samne kanda ki nyin tuyu su de nyaya de tuba de kar tuyu warsana ane sanje da shanju samba laso bi tiba chimbi ki chu nyingi yore de ane 그 냠는 지기 요마르스 딘디기 차니 니튜스 민 따판 드리치다.
So the meaning of the hearer practitioner, the hearer view, in Tibetan is called Niem Te, 2 syllables. The Niem is to listen. So they actually listen to the teachings of the great vehicle, the Mahayana vehicle, but they are not capable to practice them. So because the Mahayana teachings, one has to be practicing for the benefit of all sentient beings, whereas those individuals don't feel like they can do that. So they think it's enough, it's okay if I alone am free from samsara. So this is their aim. However, they listen, and this is why we call them the hearer vehicle, because they listen to the Mahayana teachings, but they're not able to practice.
Okay. ane 니튜 다 란자트서 티파 멤버스 테브네바스로 왔다. 히나야나 거 동반이 killing 말이지라도 딘디 말이스. 히나야는 문에데 니튜 다 란자지 라란 로잉이 딘이리 뜻중에 동반이 killing이 동반이 또고 요레스. 동반이 또니 아니야 초란 졸란인 로데 다좀 차고리 동반이 전에 맞도나 아니 다좀 차고 말이스 라고 요레스.
So then the second part of your question about emptiness. So the hearer vehicle and the solitary realizer vehicle together, we call them, you said Hinayana. I keep using the term foundational vehicle, it's the same thing. So they do accept emptiness and they attain emptiness. And without attainment of emptiness, it's not possible to become an arahant.
코 가르쳐 줘라나 나네 남반노라 준타마와 히스 요레스 제라마와 노데바 센자보 오마파 히 요레스 디나네 다 제라마와다 노데바 님보 되게 아니 동반이 사 킬링 마레스 히 요레스.
So now going into the 4 philosophical schools, and those would be the Great Exposition School, Vaibhashika, the Sutra School, the Mind-Only School, and the Middle Way School. So the first two, the Vaibhashika and the Sutra School, they do not accept emptiness.
딱 코니라 팀이지 전타마와 알라고 그랬어. 제가 팀이지 전타마와 뜻은 동반이 killing 말했어. 라기요리마도 팀이지 라마나 효는 동에 뜻은 동반이 killing 말했어. 텔라기요 말 디니 충루고 요랬어. 니튜다 란자니 마리카사 단다 셰라몬 도데바니 여봐. 디니라 팀이지 전타마와 아슬라. 디니 팀이지 전타마와 디니게 아니 동반이다. 아니면 대나네 시신진 도사 다소도 killing 요마레스 대니다 전타마와다 아니 니튜지라나 쇼 란제지라나 쇼 로사죠바 대 디니데 카가차기 요레스.
Uh,
티미지 라운나 휴는 롱에다 티미지 준타마와니데 로가차기 요레스.
So those two schools, the Vaibhashika and the Sutra school, we call them that this is the philosophy of the foundation of Ryukyu. However, we have to differentiate between the actual philosophical tenet and the way of progressing on the path. Those are different. So even though here, from the philosophical point of view, emptiness is not accepted because, for example, the sutras of Prajnaparamita sutras are not being accepted. However, when it actually comes to progressing on the path of the hearer and the solitary realizer vehicle, they do accept emptiness from that perspective.
So chasoes. 제가 티미지 준타마와다 티미지 라운나 휴는 롱이니 베드 로가차기레스. 데카르사나 베나 다 준타마와 히나네 아니 오마 바슬레로 오마 바기 동반이 킬레로 준타마와진데 오마 바이엔케 아니 닌투지라란 롱이 요리 란제지라란 롱이 요레스.
So it's important to differentiate between the philosophical schools and progressing on the path. For example, if we take the middle way school, within the middle way school, we also have the way of progressing for the hearer and from the solitary realizers.
Okay, that is it. I need to try it.
That's enough on that. If there's any other questions?
In Mahayana, when do you start meditating on emptiness? Can you learn and do some meditations already on the path of preparation?
Class Choshisha. Siva Chachira.
Tompani gom tegmen kapsu tinyana kadugo sugire pajashana jolam
Tomani Gomba.
gom
Go and study also, like learning about emptiness and meditating.
chesan gom chirpanjana ani
Okay, the Tagil Husare. Nintu Ranja teaching Karayimia. Tombani di Sola Mate Pingola, Tombani Tomiki. Sola Mate Pingola, Tombani Tomiki. Nintu Yore, Ranja Yore, teaching Yores. Ani, ya, Nintu ina Nintu Solan, Ranjaji Solan, Tiji Solan, Tosi, Jila Tombani Tonke Yores. Tela Rini Yores. Bena Tiba Chamberina, Shanjuji said, Maji Bingola Tombani Tonki Yores. Ani Tambo Shanjuji Sam J, Tijila, and Tombani Tonki Yores.
So, if in the context of the three vehicles, the hearer, solitary realizer, and the gray vehicle, there's those two ways, which I already talked about, on when emptiness can be meditated on. So it can be either before attaining the path of accumulation, and all the three vehicles, practitioners of the three vehicles can do that, or after already having attained the path of accumulation, enter on the path and then begin meditating on emptiness. So then there is also a way that first we generate bodhicitta and then meditate on emptiness.
That's Tomani Gomba Sadi, Solamate Bingola Yonchore, Solankasu Yonchores. Inaya, Tombanila maybe here, Hantong such a hero, Hineda Hantong such a Chesa Tombanila maybe Hineda of the Solanchkas Togres. In a Kunzubichula, Kunzubichula, Tombanis near, Kunzubichula maybe Hineda Hantong. Tombanila maybe Hineda Hantong needed, Jevina, Tombanila maybe Hineda Hantong the best Kalika Yores. Tendi Zambala, and Solanchikasu. Kunzu bichula maybe Hineda Hanton, Ninka Yores. Inaya, Tombanila maybe 아니 신이 요레스 초랑지 가서 랑통 야마레스 동반이라 maybe 랑통 가디 토소이나 초랑이 요레스 기마사
Can't have to complicate what he just said. It's technical.
Yeah.
you try to translate.
So it is possible to meditate on emptiness before and or after entering the path of preparation. Sorry, the path of accumulation, and then Lachton Gonda.
kunzu dembada tana demas nyerwa
Iore.
kunzu dembala maybe hine da lantong de doble la yores
Rubella.
hine gomle la yor hine troops lerwa kunzu bichula maybe hine de doble la yore lantong doble la yores tamote heda.
So, okay, so now in terms of the meditation, the special insight Vipassana meditation, there are two truths, the relative truth and the ultimate truth. In the context of meditating on in the context of a relative truth, the Shina is meaning the calm abiding, the placement meditation is easy.
동반일은 maybe 아니 hine da lantong de drop kali ka yores.
And so then, sorry, in the context of relative truth, the attainment of Shina and Lacton, Vipassana, is easier. And then compared to the ultimate truth, then attainment of calm abiding and special insights are difficult.
Teni tsamba solanji kapsa kunzu bi chulas kunzu deba yingi chula maybe hine yore lantong yores.
So then, in the context of the path of accumulation, because this is in the context of the relative truth, we have Shina, we have the calm abiding and special insight meditation.
다 소란지 가서 돈반이라 maybe 다 소란들 쓰면 소란 중국 소란 링 소란 첨보스 제가 소란 첨보지 가서 돈반이라 maybe hine yores.
So within the path of accumulation, that is further divided into three: small, middle, and big. So in the big path of accumulation, then the object of meditation is emptiness.
이나야 디카스 lantong yomares.
But at that point, there is no yet special insight.
lantong kadi topsona 아니 jalantan yores.
And in order to attain special insight, we need to enter the path of preparation.
대 기침보였다 야부 힘그레스.
This is important to know.
아니 다 조데 아니 동반일은 maybe 히네다 lantong 인가데 아니 졸람이 가스토이 좀알 다테 배 뉴바치부 차네 아니 바이 뉴모게 냠보스레로 뉴모게 냠본로데 고수엘로데 졸란지 가서 고수여레스.
Nyumongi.
냠보
So at the point of path of preparation, when we are practicing both the special insight and calm abiding, that meditation it becomes very powerful and it becomes an antidote to afflictions.
아니 this one is 다.
Okay, Gisela, thank you.
Correct?
No.
No question? Okay. Okay. 아니 바트네 선인이 상주지 쌤 콜마 히야이스.
So this is enough for today. From tomorrow we will speak about bodhicitta.
바트리 스미와 인중 상주지 양탑이다. 인중사 디고 트린 차이스.
And so out of those three principal aspects, renunciation, the mind of alignment, and the correct view, today we have completed renunciation.
Okay. 라소 있잖아.
It's very difficult there.